Every candidate starts with the same problem. You have 100 reasons why you're running, 1,000 ideas for your district, and about 10 seconds before the voter closes their front door. If you try to tell them everything, they'll remember nothing. Welcome to How to Run for Office and Get Away with It. Today we're tackling the hardest part of the campaign trail, taking the noise in your head and turning it into a message that actually wins votes. We're doing that using the 5-3-1 method. This is the process that takes the word salad of a typical campaign and distills it into sharp, lethal, and memorable narrative. If you've ever struggled to articulate why you're the right choice without tripping over your own feet, this episode is for you. Let's break it down. Welcome to How to Run for Office and Get Away with It. I'm Scott,
And I'm V,
and we're here to talk about political things
running for office.
again,
Yeah.
as always.
We're back from break.
We're back from break. We've had a nice holiday break. It's now the new year, and we are ready to get back into it.
We took a little hiatus for our audience that missed us while we were gone. It's okay. We saw you anyway, moms.
Yeah. Shout out our entire audience we saw.
Thanks, Mother.
Yes. And it is nearing the end of football season.
Yes, it is. It's almost super. It's for me. It's done.
A very sad fate for the teams that we follow.
Yeah, for me, we're football.
Balmer
forever.
and Washington.
You should not.
Balmer and Washington.
You know what?
Yeah.
Normally, if you say it the way that you say it, I give you a hard time. But Pittsburgh was in it for a while.
You say Pittsburgh properly.
I say Pittsburgh the way you say Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's very popping though.
Oh, I say Balmer the way you say Balmer and Balmer.
Okay.
What is your disdain for the East Coast Maryland accent?
I don't have a disdain for it at all. I think it's very lovely.
So, yeah, it's the end of football season, but for me, football season's over. But guess what's starting up? January 31st.
The end of January, it is lacrosse season.
It's lacrosse season. We have an opening
College
game
lacrosse starts on the 31st of January.
I'm so excited.
And runs through April.
Runs through April.
And then we have the PLL.
Runs through May.
Runs through May.
Yeah.
PLL starts up just before the end of college season.
Yeah, because the tournament is
we have a lot of lacrosse to watch over the next 6 months or so.
And you guys are going to hear about everybody. You're going to hear about the Bernhardt brothers. You're going to hear about Phase On. You're going to hear about...
I may have to rename the podcast something about...
Politics and Lacrosse.
Politics and Lacrosse.
Matt Rambo. Anyway, go Whip Snakes. Go Charm. This is the first year that they're doing women's
professional lacrosse.
I'm excited. That doubled the lacrosse for me. I'm excited. We're going to watch so much. Anyway, so we're talking about messaging and we're talking about sports. And the name of the episode is
5-3-1 Hut Hut.
5-3-1 Hut Hut.
We're talking about our 5-3-1 method for presenting your message to the people.
It can get a little confusing trying to explain it, I feel like, but I hope everybody gets a good handle. And if you don't get a good handle on it listening to the podcast, remember you can always email us at info@epoliticalllc.com, or you can just hit us up on social media. So remember, as you listen to these, if you have any questions, just...
You have to answer all the questions we receive.
Hit us up on the social media.
Absolutely.
But this is probably one of the most important topics that we're going to talk about.
This is a very important topic to talk about. A very important method to use.
It's one of the essential building blocks of the foundation of your campaign. Yeah. Getting your message correct, getting it, being able to have it resonate. And this method, it's the Be Political 5-3-1 method. It's not
copyright.
Copyright for it. But this method is one that helps keep your messaging fresh. It's easy to understand the assignment.
Sure.
And
if you've done your homework.
If you follow the things that we said to do in other episodes.
Right.
Because we're never telling people to do things that aren't really necessary. Nothing is busy work. Everything is essential. It's not steps you want to skip,
Right.
basically. So, but everything sort of leads up to this is the first place that you're using all of that.
Right.
And then this is also going to be kind of like the foundation of your website, of your social media posts. Like once you lock your 531 messaging in, it makes everything else sort of fall in place.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
But before we get into that, we want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Be Political. You know, running for office can be overwhelming, especially when you don't know where to begin. And Be Political can help people just like you run for political office with the confidence of having a seasoned campaign manager. With Be Political, you'll find the professional advice you've been looking for, along with guidance and tools you can't find anywhere else. We'll help you stay organized and guide you in making important decisions about your campaign. From learning how to secure that big donor to choosing your campaign color scheme, Be Political is here for you. You know, it's hard to know where to begin when you want to run. So start here. Be Political can show you the way. For all your campaign needs, go to bepoliticalllc.com. And now, back to the show. And we can talk about 531 HUD HUD.
531 hut hut.
Yes. So what do you mean with 531? What are we talking about here? What's the story behind that?
So there's two approaches, but it all comes down to your campaign always has 5 things that they talk about. Your campaign should always have 5 things that you primarily talk about, the bullet points of your campaign.
These are your hot issues or the topics that you want to have conversations about, or you want to make sure that people understand your position.
Correct.
Yes.
That, when people say, what do you stand for? These are the things that you're mentioning. Now, when we're looking at that, we say 5 topics that we're always mentioning. You're going to see that on your mailers and on your print material. They're going to stay on your website all the time.
This is your platform.
This is basically your platform. You keep it to 5 because everything after that, nobody's really paying attention. People need to hear things a minimum of 7 times for them to hear it.
Yes.
So when you're looking at it that way, you have their attention. You only have so much information that you can give to them before they tune out. So you have 5 topics that you want to have during your campaign that you stick to. That's your messaging. Out of those 5 topics, you really only want to be talking about 3 at a time. So, like as you're going about your campaign, you have a message calendar, which we're going to talk about in another episode, setting up your message calendar, finding that out, right? But you may have like from the moment that you announce until um March, fall festival, or not fall festival, spring festival, or some community event, a benchmark in your campaign. Maybe let's say you announce in January, you filed in January, right? So you have like 2 months. And during those 2 months of those 5 topics, 3 are the ones that you're bringing up primarily because of how it relates to the way that you've done your kickoff or things that are taking place. Maybe whatever it is that you're talking about is related to it's weather related. Well, you don't want to talk about seasonal droughts in the middle of February. That's not really going to resonate. You want to talk about that when it's August and September. That's when people are going to be paying attention to that messaging. So you rotate out those 5 things for 3 at a time, right?
Right.
It also gets people get fatigue from hearing the same thing over and over.
So they have to hear it 7 times.
But they don't wanna feel like
But they
they've
don't
heard
wanna-
it 7
Right.
times.
Right.
So once
That's a very fine line to walk.
it is. So you've gotta have, repeatable messaging, but you need to not you wanna hit them over the head without them feeling like they're being hit over the head.
Right.
So you rotate that messaging as you go. Um, So you talk about 3 at a time, and that's enough to capture their attention. Okay.
Okay.
And then out of all of those, there should be one thing that you are always talking about from day one until your acceptance speech, right?
Right.
From from beginning to end, that thing should be the one topic that you've always keep. So 5 topics, 3 that you're currently discussing, 1 that you're always on top of.
So you should always have some in your pocket, depending on your audience or your location or event or whatever it is that you're at or dealing with at that moment. That's how you choose the 3 that are
Not
currently in rotation?
not necessarily. Um, so it may be based on what's happening in the news. It may be based on what is that time of year and which one of your topics most lends itself to people paying attention to it, depending on the time of year. Um, you it may be based on whether or not that topic is being discussed or in legislation, or if it is being brought up in a town hall or it's scheduled to be debated.
So
You
keep it current.
keep it current, keep it relative to what people are paying attention to, or relate it to the things that are happening around them, but also relate it to the needs of your campaign. And that's where you're getting into your message calendar. That's where you're getting into where you're planning when you're going to be talking about those things. But the big thing is that you remember that you're going to have 5 topics, and at any given time, if anybody asks you anything about those 5 things, you are an expert on. You're gonna be
Yes.
able to have the same answer every time consistent, and that message will be part of your campaign talking points.
How do you decide what those topics are? And what is relative to a particular political office or what is I mean, how do you go through everything that's going on in your community or in the world? How do you decide what those 5 topics are?
Right, so that was this is episode 5, right?
Yes.
Right. All of the things that came up to now, this is where it starts to really come into, like, this is where it comes into where we're using it. All
Oh,
that stuff.
when you sat down and you wrote down the topics and the issues that were important to you,
Right,
what is motivating you to run,
right.
what type of politician you want to be, or what type of candidate do you want to be. Um, all of these things that we've been talking about in previous episodes.
Mm. Not only that, but when you were getting to know your community, when you were learning the issues that were important to them, when you were looking at the social media sites and the news sites and the comment sections, you were learning what the most important issues in your community were, what needs to be addressed, and ways that you can address them. You were developing yourself as well as getting to know your community. And being able to develop yourself in that way, you were accidentally becoming an expert on those topics. You were learning about them, and one would hope looking into, well, what's some of the solutions that are being offered here? What solutions that the community is looking for? What do I think is the best idea? And then, you find those things that A are resonating with you, but B are also resonating with the people who, you know, are ready to support you. You want and you hear it all the time, and it's got such a it's exhausted at this point, your base. Well, yeah, you're doing things not just to gain votes. You're doing things because you wanna represent people. And part of that representation is recognizing, well, you know, I'm listening to what my constituents are telling me is a problem.
All
Um,
the more people that tell you that it's a problem. Again, it's back to listening to the people that are in your community that you're out meeting and talking to. So your 5 topics are ever changing, evolving. Is that accurate to say?
No, these are the things that you actually want to stay the same during your campaign. So your answer will be what it is until election day and beyond. What you're looking at is having 5 things that you are always talking about that you say, "Hey, I'm the one who recognizes this is a problem. I'm the one who knows what the solution is to these things, and when you elect me, this is what I will be doing in order to provide that solution."
Right.
So when you say your question is these things should be evergreen or ever evolving, they should be evergreen. They should stay the same all year round. Now you should evolve on issues, absolutely. You should evolve on your understanding of your community and campaign, and you want to discuss that with your community as you're talking to them. But with these things, you want to show that you are clear, consistent, and steadfast, and that you will be unrelenting and unyielding in your pursuit to make these things take place or address these issues once you're elected to office.
And all of these topics ideally should relate to your the main focus, the theme of your campaign.
Right, right. And so there's 2 different approaches to this. One is that you have 5 different topics that relate to one central theme. So let's say that that's the approach you're taking. You have a central theme and or you want to have a central theme and you're not sure what it is. All that work that you just did, we were just talking about that. You're going to start to see what it is that is most important to you if you haven't already decided that. Um maybe maybe the theme of your campaign is transparency.
Right.
So when you're choosing the 5 things that you want to be talking about, addressing, and rotating throughout your campaign in discussion, all of them should in some way, shape, or form relate back to I am the transparent candidate. I am the one who's going to ensure that you always know what's going on. I will be uh, putting all of the um, public meetings, I will be ensuring that they go on live stream with participation from the public from online so that we have accessibility for those who are homebound. Like, you want to be, that would be one of your issues. You obviously want to ensure that that has been a concern for people in your community in the
Right.
past. Um, if that hasn't, but it is for you, and that's a way in which you want to provide transparency to the community, then thoroughly explain that. You may not even realize that this is something that could benefit you. Here's how that it could. That should be one of your talking points, one of your 5 topics that you get into. But that's not the end of that discussion on transparency. Maybe the next thing is your next talking point is that you have developed a relationship with the state auditor's office over the years and you want to work with them to root out corruption or to ensure that you are able to provide a report to the public annually that shows in every way where every penny is going of your local money. There's that would be your next one. Again, transparency. So everything that you're doing is relating to that central theme. It might be that your theme that you've decided was, you know, um, justice for you know all people or something that is a little bit more broad. That's a tougher case to make, so you gotta get specific, like, that's broad. You gotta narrow it down for people with those 5 things. Give them 5 things that you're gonna do, give 3 of them at a
And
time.
these things should be very specific.
They should be, because if you're going with a theme and it's broad like that, you wanna give specific things that you're going to do, because otherwise it all sounds like a pipe dream. It all sounds like just something that, you can't hang your hat on a dream, right? And those 5 things give people something to hang their hat on. So, when you're going with the "I have a theme," uh,
Didn't Martin Luther King say that?
no, he did not. He did one justice for all, and you know what he did? He had excellent bullet points on how he was going to do that. Listen to his speeches, listen to what he did. He rotated the same themes and he adjusted them for where he was. That is a master class in how you can deliver your message with eh, amazing outcomes and how you move people to your cause. So you have your theme, and then you give 5 things that relate to that theme. The other method that you can use is, where you have a central issue. The main reason that you're running may be a very specific cause, a very specific action being taken in government, whether it is to ensure that um, a specific stretch of land isn't being rezoned for commercial from farmland. And you're trying to protect the community and the watershed and the, local farmers and preserve a historic site, that sort of thing. So you will always go back to discussing how you are going to do that thing. And you will talk about that as like it's pinned to the top of your social media, which if that's your primary focus, should be a post pinned to the top of your social media that outlines that.
So, as part of your preparation for campaigning,
Mhm.
you should have a mission statement
Right.
that very clearly defines where you stand on specific issues, and that creates your talking points, that creates your platform.
It does help. Again, all of that work that you're doing leading up to this, that is creating the foundations of what you're putting together.
Okay, so you have a central theme or a central issue. You have 5 topics that carousel around in your interactions with people, your speeches, or just talking to people, letting them get to know you. And these are the 5 most important things that they should know about you
Right.
that will help to influence whether or not they want to vote for you.
And I think that when you're looking at what that that central topic is, when you're looking at that one thing that you're keeping no matter what, and I want to go back to that for a second because this is the other methodology before we get into like, what that part. I think when you have that central topic, like you want to preserve that farmland or whatever, keep it from being rezoned. You keep going back to that. And that's why you need to elect me because I'm going to make sure that that land doesn't get rezoned and that nobody's land gets rezoned in a way that isn't for the benefit of the community, but only for the few. And that's, where you're ending every speech is with that central theme, that one issue. But then you've got 4 other that you're talking about. Well, I just sort of mentioned them, right? The preservation of waterways.
Right.
It was going to affect the watershed. The preservation of family farms. You know, Again, it's related back to that. The, you know, I don't know, the historic society having access to all lands before they get built on to ensure that cultural preservation, like, that's your 3rd topic. So, you may not be talking about how the historic society should have access every time, and you're gonna ensure that every single time you're at an organization. You may not be talking about the watershed whenever you know, but you may be part of the year. You're always gonna be talking about not rezoning that land.
Okay.
And then the other 4 things that you're talking about, you're gonna rotate them around depending on the time of year and the location of where you're speaking and what it is that you're doing and what your messaging calendar is.
Right.
So in one, you have a central theme with 5 talking points that lead to your central theme that will always be the central theme of everything you're saying wherever you're going. And then you have your other, which is that you have a central policy position and everything else that you're doing is sort of an offshoot from it. But the main idea is that you have one thing that identifies you, right?
Right.
That's connected with you. And then you have, you know, you have 4 to 5 things that you're talking about that lend itself to that thing that you're known for, and you're hammering them over the head without hammering them over the head.
Doesn't that pigeonhole you a little bit
Uh,
to have one specific topic that you're running your whole campaign on?
Sort of and no. Um,
Sort of and no.
it depends on how you do it. If you do it wrong, yes. Um, so your main topic should be, and you mentioned this earlier, your mission statement.
Mhm.
Your main topic, whether it's policy or it is themed, it should be your mission statement. It should be, how you kind of identify yourself in some way. Now, if you're running on a topic like preserving farmland or what have you, why has that moved you so much that you're running for office?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Right. So that's still informing the public about you personally, which is who the public needs to know what drives you, what's the purpose of your campaign, why are you running? If it's so that I can serve you, well, in what way? In what way do you see yourself serving me? Because that's not really an answer. Everybody who's running is running because they want to be, you know, my representative
Right.
in this particular body. In what way do you want to do it?
And that's where the
And that's where
3 to 4 different
right.
aspects of it come into play.
So you're really asking that question of yourself. That's where we get into those long talks that you're having with yourself and writing things down and tracking, what's important to you and what's important to the community at large. This is about as honest as you can get. If you are choosing something based on I want to run for office. I want to run for office because I want to be in office. I don't really stand for anything. I guess I better go find out what is important to other people and then just say I'm gonna fix it.
Yeah, that
This
I
is
think I think that sounds like a bunch of bullshit that
but
people will see through.
but we see people run that campaign
Oh, sure.
all the time.
Yes.
And how do people feel about that? They don't feel great about it. They look at that person and they roll their eyes and like, okay, whatever. And what a load of crap. There is a particular candidate right now who's running in Kentucky who I won't mention by name, but has had a campaign that is exactly that. And everyone has that reaction in every time that person's name is mentioned. It's just like, yeah, right. Okay. Right. Um, and I could spend all the money and time in the world and it wouldn't matter because that's how they run. That's how the campaign is run. Is just, is this what you care about now? Let me just keep hitting you over the head with what you care about now.
It's insincere.
It's the insincerity and people sense insincerity. And here's the thing about local office. People sense insincerity in local office so much faster than they do. You have so much less latitude
Well, it's
because
a lot easier to
these are people who know you.
it's a lot easier to read someone when you're talking to them face to face or in person rather than just seeing what the media, portrays them as.
Right. It's not when you're running for office locally, you're not an abstract idea. You're not, you know, on TV and not really a real person. And for some people, you may not seem like a real person. They may not have access to you for some reason, or, they're not going to the places that you are, or they're, whatever. But at the same time, they remember when you went to high school there. They were your teacher. They, went to your spouse's church. Your kids play soccer with their kids. You're, you know, you're interlaced culturally and in community. If
Right.
you're involved in the community, a lot of these people have had access to you in some way or know about you. So when you're insincere, they feel it because they've already interacted with you before.
Sure.
So it really it's important to start from a place of honesty when you're developing these things because you people are going to know whether or not these are just things that you're saying or doing to get them to vote for you.
Yes.
And people's patience with that level of insincerity has just about run out. I think
It has for me.
we're hearing more and more of people being very upset and angry with that being the way that politics is usual. And, you know, you know, personally for me, I won't run a campaign that's the candidate.
Right.
I won't do it. Um, but that is fairly common because a lot of times it's where the money is. And a lot of times you're going to be running against the person that has the money and is running that campaign. And the thing that's going to make the difference, the thing that's going to give you the edge is that you have sincerity on your side. And no amount of money will ever, ever beat sincerity when it comes to local campaigns. It won't. I know there's people who are going to say, oh, that's naive. And oh, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't care. There is no amount of money that you can spend. I have watched people pour money into campaigns and they couldn't get past they did not seem sincere in running and they lost.
Right.
So, anyway, that is the big things now. Do you have any questions? Did I explain that well enough
I think
for everybody?
you explained it clearly. So let me see if I can summarize. When you are developing your plan to run, as we talked about in a previous episode, the important thing is to understand your community, what the needs of your community are, and to take a position on those ideas that you can then communicate to the people that you're interacting with. And that is where the 5-3-1 comes in. Five different issues or five different talking points
That you are an expert
that
on
you have become an expert on
and that you have an opinion on.
through your research, through your interactions with people, through your information that you have been able to get together,
Right. And that you have an opinion on,
that you have
that you
an
can
opinion
speak
on,
from an educated position on, and that you have a policy or action to take regarding.
and the end is sincere.
And that comes from a place of sincerity.
Yeah. Um, so you have those 5 topics. You have 3 topics that you are bringing out at any given time
That's your main focus for that time period.
that you are trying to get that across to people, whether or not they're asking you about it. These are the things that are important to you in your campaign and your aspirations that you want to make sure that people understand about you
For that period of time.
for that period of time. And
Because you're rotating.
this can change throughout the year, or can change from event to event, not your stance, but the topic.
So you change it up per event, but for the most part, you want to stay on that topic until you've hit the general public over the head with it for a few months, and then you give them a break from that, and then you change it up
And
to
you rotate it, right?
you rotate it until that starts to wear, and then you rotate it again so that people aren't getting tired of the message, but they're still hearing it. It's that fine line.
All of the different issues and topics that you're talking about should tie it together into a central theme,
Correct.
or a primary idea.
Primary cause or idea, yes.
Right. Okay. So that this is, again, the preparation for this is really important. Getting to know your community, getting to know yourself and how you feel about the issues that are going on, or any particular topic that's affecting your community.
People think this is busy work.
It's not busy work.
It's
It's definitely not. It's very important preparation, and it's not. You can't decide to run for office and then just jump in and start campaigning. You really have to look within yourself and look at your community and see what's important and how you feel you can better the community.
You know what my favorite campaign story is of all time? It's like the first campaign. It's not really, but I like to think of it as the first campaign.
The first campaign,
The first
it's
campaign.
when Judas was running for.
No,
Okay.
no. This is like the first campaign in the United States.
I see.
All right. So George Washington was a tall person. And I don't know how many people know that. I hope a lot of you listeners out there know. George Washington was a tall person. He was
Yeah, he was like 6'4" or something.
um, 6'2". I don't know. He wasn't just tall for the time which he was. He was tall for he would be considered a tall man now. Um, he was also attractive. Now I know that sounds crazy because we're used to like that.
George Washington was hot.
No, I can't do that. No, that's like talking about your grandpa or something. That makes me upset. That makes me upset. But George Washington was an attractive man. He was actually a little fussy, but that's beside the point. Um,
He loved to powder his hair.
no, but he would.
He did.
Oh,
He
okay.
really did.
Yes, he
He
but he was a fussy person.
Yeah.
He was very serious about etiquette and the way that you carried yourself. But this is my point. He was very serious about how you carried yourself, presented yourself, how you looked to other people. Um, a lesson that I could often take as I wander this earth in torn blue jeans and steel-toed boots and flannel shirts. But he showed up to Congress every day when the Continental Congress was meeting, and um, as they were discussing, going to war with Britain and how they were approaching this concept of a revolution. He showed up every day in his uniform. Now, there was no reason for him to be in uniform.
Well, you never know when somebody's gonna paint a portrait of you. You have to be prepared.
He showed up in his full dress uniform.
Sure.
This was a psychological campaign that he very brilliantly there was other people in the military that was involved in the Continental Congress. So, you know, he's showing up every day like, "Hey guys, just gonna remind everybody that I'm in the military and pretty high ranking. K, bye." He's got this like you laugh, but he wasn't saying, "Hey, I'm in the military. I could lead it." He was just,
He never really campaigned for
he's
himself.
just well in this
In that regard,
yeah. So he was just showing up to Congress every day, and then they were like, "Who should lead the Continental Army?" And they're like, "Wait, I know.
wait, remember that guy that's here every day?
George, aren't you in the military?" "Oh, me?
By George, I am.
By George."
That's where that expression came from.
It's
Yeah,
not
it
though,
really is.
isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think so. Yeah. Anyway, but he had even visually, he was telling people very sincerely who he was, what he stood for, and it all led back to that message of, "I am a leader who can lead you in this moment." And while he wasn't saying it, his appearance was providing that. Everything he was doing, he was being a diplomat. He was working relations between the Southern community who wasn't necessarily keen on revolution. Um, he was running interference between Northern and Southern, you know, colonies. He was lending information is to military understanding military strategy and understanding what the obstacles were and what they needed. He was doing that. He was presenting himself with the central theme of, "I can be your leader." So, and presenting himself that way.
Right.
And that was a goal. Like he did want that. It was on purpose. It was with intent. And so, I think that's genius. He wasn't pushy about it. He just made it clear to people. He instilled the confidence that this is who I am and what I have to offer. This is what makes me
He was
perfect for this
consistent and sincere about it.
He was consistent and sincere. Now, don't be that passive. Nobody's ever gonna give you anything that you want unless you ask for it outright. But, um, he definitely understood the importance of sticking to an image and a theme.
But wouldn't you just love to have been able to hear a George Washington campaign speech?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I would tell you who I'd really like to listen to is Patrick Henry. I'd l like, the greatest orators of the time would all have over, but nobody's Patrick Henry.
Very interesting article in The Atlantic about Patrick Henry.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet.
Yes.
We're really excited. The American Revolution has just started on PBS for us, so that's probably a couple of weeks ago for you. But yeah, that we're really excited about. I got you excited about that.
Yes.
So, yeah, we can't we if I could give everybody just my subscription to The Atlantic for them to read that.
How about if people subscribe to The Atlantic on their own?
No, I meant for that particular issue that we've been reading that goes along with
The November, I
the
believe.
Ken Burns. It goes along with the Ken Burns special. It's so excellently done, so well written.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up this idea of 531 Hut Hut, which is a great title for the episode, by the way. 5 topics, keep 3 in rotation, but they all relate to one central theme.
Right.
Central theme.
Central theme.
Yes.
So, and we're gonna get back to messaging calendars, setting up your messaging calendar and planning out your campaign messaging in a couple of episodes.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about these types of these positions and your messaging and how you get your message across and how you present your position. When you're out talking to the public, talking to the potential voters.
Yeah, that's like 2 episodes right there at least.
That's a lot. And it all comes back to this whole preparation and this whole central messaging idea.
But in the meantime, I think our next episode is called There Are No Campaign Fairies.
There are absolutely no campaign.
There are no campaign fairies. And you're like, okay, she's serious about this. Listen, when you file to run for office, nobody's going to leave a box on your doorstep that has campaign t-shirts and campaign buttons and bumper stickers and all the things that people think just materialize out of nowhere. There are no campaign fairies, and you don't need t-shirts. And you'll find out why in the next episode.
Yes. So,
Okay, you need like 5 t-shirts, but that's beside the point.
all right. Well, we want to thank our sponsor, Be Political. You can visit them on the website at Political, BEE, politicalllc.com. And there you will find much more information about campaigning and how to use their services to help with your campaign and give you all of this great advice. All of our episodes will be listed there as well.
And follow us on social media.
Yeah.
We're on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram Reels, and TikTok, maybe. Yeah.
Well, just get on your social media. You'll see us.
We'll
be there.
It's Be Political, BEE, political.
Very good.
All right.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today.
Let's get ready to run.
Let's get ready to run.